welcome back to another episode of A Charmed Life. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notifications button so that you'll get notified every time we post another awesome video just like this one. So this episode of A Charmed Life has to do with a personal story of ours. We just passed Halloween, and every year at Halloween, Patti and I celebrate something else. We celebrate our anniversary because, although you probably didn't know it, we got married the day before Halloween on October 30th. And every year at Halloween, we are reminded, when we're wandering around in the freezing cold and the rain, we're reminded of that special day 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, I know. Hard to believe, right? 20 years, it looks impossible.
After 20 years, our wedding photos are still in a Rubbermaid bin in the basement. That is pretty crazy. I don't know, does that say something about us?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a photo album. I have a lot of just pictures. Halloween sucks around here. I don't know about you guys, but it's always like freezing cold, pouring rain, or snowing, and terribly windy. It's like,
it's the worst.
It's rarely nice,
yeah,
like ever. But 20 years ago, on the 30th of October, it was like 25 degrees.
It was so hot.
It was hot, sunny, and when we planned, like, only a naive couple of 23-year-olds would plan to have a wedding, like, on a beach in Ontario
outside.
And in a forest outside
on October 30th.
Like, to this day, I'm like, what were we thinking?
Seriously, what were we thinking?
But it like turned out absolutely perfectly, and only 20 years later am I realizing like how incredible the gift of that weather was, because it did
snow like 2 days after,
yeah,
the next day. Yeah.
And actually leading up to it, you know, we were young and naive and we're like, yeah, that's awesome. It's gonna be a costume wedding outside, October 30th, awesome. And then the week before leading up to it, it was like freezing rain, the totally normal weather pattern
for October,
like crap weather. And we were like,
even that morning, it was raining. Yeah.
What are we gonna do? And we didn't have a backup plan. Like, literally.
Even the wedding planner was like, what are you gonna do if it rains? And we were just like, it won't.
I would not recommend that kind of a plan ever again, but it did work out. And the other thing too is, you know, it being a costume wedding, our family, mine way more so, had a lot to say about that. They were not enthusiastic, believe it or not.
I mean, that was 20 years ago. A costume wedding was like outside the box. Nobody thought that was a good idea.
No, and especially like my family is mostly Catholic, and
it's a sacrament. It's a huge insult to wear costumes. And on my side, I even had somebody say, well, if you're in costumes, how are the witnesses going to be legitimate? They won't know who you are, who's behind the mask. And I thought, like, I'm not dressed up as Chewbacca. You're going to know who we are.
I was a fairy. I had beautiful wings.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of tips and advice on how we should change it. You know, how would you just have like a
masks? Put masks under the seats. Yeah. I went to a wedding and there were masks under the seats, and that was such a great idea.
Just all kinds of, and we were like, oh yeah, great, okay, yeah, thanks, no.
Yeah.
Awesome, great, yeah, no. And we actually did not. We had a vision, and we did not stray from that vision like one iota.
One little
not
bit.
even
nothing.
Like. Not a nudge.
Every detail was exactly the way we planned and wanted it.
We were not accommodating. But what ended up is that at the wedding, all the same people who had been like, no, you can't do that, do it this way, do it that way, they're like, oh
now
my gosh, now I get
yeah.
it. This is beautiful. Oh, this is... And it did turn out just perfectly.
Even 15 and 20 years later, people have said, like, that was the best wedding I ever went to.
And we realized at the time, in the aftermath, we were like, if we had actually given in and changed anything. Detail and strayed from our vision, it wouldn't have been just like, we knew what we wanted, and they didn't.
They really had no idea.
They just had to show up.
Yeah.
And then because we didn't stray from it, that's why it was so great. And the lesson there is twofold. One is you have your own vision about how you want to live your life or your goals or your dreams, and you may share bits with people, but they don't see your whole vision, and they'll give you all kinds of advice about how to do it and how not to do it, and
how they would do it,
and that sort of thing. But it won't work out how you want it to if you just change your vision based on other people's input. You got to stick to your guns. And that positive expectancy bit, like, what were we thinking? Just like, yeah, no problem, outdoor wedding. Like, I wouldn't, that was a bit of a gamble. But the fact that we were just like, it never crossed our mind, it never entered our consciousness, and this was like well before the theories on manifestation and blah blah blah, universe, and putting your intentions out. Like, we were just like, yeah, no, it's
just gonna go that way. It's gonna be outside, and it's gonna be perfect, and it's gonna be on October 30th.
And I did have like moments of panic a couple of days before and freaking out, but the underlying expectation that no, it was just all gonna be just right, and it worked out. And we told ourselves after, like, let this be the model of our life together. Like, we'll have a vision, and it will work out. And
we won't, like, no one will know exactly what our vision is, but it'll be clear to us.
Yeah.
So we'll stick to our guns. And we'll have a positive expectation that everything is going to work out. And although we might take input and advice from people, it will always be aligned with our vision. And if it doesn't, then we won't take it. In fact, we had been plugging away at Dimples, and I'm telling you, from day one through to now, we've had some humongous successes, but we have had some absolutely catastrophic, devastating failures. And through it all, we did keep our vision of exactly how we wanted it to be. And we just had this unflinching, positive expectation that ultimately it would work out. And I
flinched a few times, and so did you. Like, I mean, there were some flinchable
There were moments. There were some dark. I went to some dark places in my soul.
But we always rose above that.
Yeah.
We did actually have someone say at one point, guys, if you decided to throw in the towel today, nobody
would say you didn't do your best. You didn't give it your all.
And I remember being quite utterly shocked.
I was too, yeah.
What? Like, throwing the towel, that's just not in... No.
That's not our jam.
No. And I kind of started to silently cry on the other side of the phone. Thinking wow, what world do I live in that really seems a possibility, and in my world... It's not even a possibility on the horizon, at all. Where am I? Am I so out of touch? But we didn't throw in the towel. We kept our vision, and we're still here, and that was years ago.
Looking back, and it's strange because in the days and weeks that followed our wedding, we did have that conversation, like you mentioned. We should remember this. We should remember that nobody got what we were talking about. Nobody saw our vision. And we stuck to it and did it. And once we did, and they saw it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So even at that, what was really pretty young, right?
Wow.
Even at that young age, we had the wisdom of people 2 and 3 times our age. To know that having that vision, being persistent, and having that unflinching, positive expectation that it would work out,
and
it all just
understanding
did.
that, other people just don't get it.
Right, and they won't, no matter what you say.
And that's okay.
That's because everybody sees and hears things through their own filter. So even if you try and communicate your vision as clearly as possible, it won't be the same inside their mind as it is inside yours.
Just when you decide to resign from teaching, the most stable position you can barely ever get fired from. Right?
Yeah. A lot of people advised you against that.
And would I do it again? I don't know. It's pretty risky. I'm not advising anyone out there to do something like that, but it did work. It so far is working.
Well, we wouldn't have gotten where we are.
No. I supply teach now and then just as a reminder, hey, am I missing out? at all, actually. So at other points in our lives, we took those risks and we believed in the face of what makes no sense, really. But
Yeah.
so you too can have a vision and just, you know, let people, they'll give you advice and that, and if it makes sense and fits with your vision, fine. If not, just, you know, in one ear, out the other. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And always have that positive expectancy. Like, you are going to have moments of complete and utter fear and dismay, but as long as, you know, the foundation is built upon the positive expectancy, you'll probably live a very charmed life.
That's right. That's what you'll do.
Yes, those are some of the foundations of living a charmed life.
Awesome. So that is our episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And like I said at the beginning, don't forget to hit that notifications button so that you'll get notified every time we post another awesome video just like this one. So hey, until next week, here's to living a charmed life.
We had a lot of input, especially from my family, about some tips.
Oh.
Never got a photo album.
Never.